So the living quarters are definitely going to be smaller and less nice than you have ever lived in. But it's not terrible. Again, it's all about your attitude. The transportation, the only person who has a car in the mission is the president. So we travel from place to place using buses or taxis. And it's actually pretty cool because public transportation there is super cheap. So you just have to figure out how to like haggle with the taxi drivers and get to one place to another. You learn how to give directions pretty quickly in Spanish because that's what you have to do. The education system, it's more or less similar to ours. They usually have like a first school and then a second school, which is their high school. It's super interesting because it's all like very Catholic religion based. So you're gonna walk around and see the names of the churches, the schools are like El Corazón Sagrado de Jesús, like the Sacred Heart of Christ, or Little Christ Child. It's pretty interesting. Safety wise, honestly, the best thing to do to be safe is to be obedient. Because when you're being obedient, you're going to be protected and you won't have problems. And so a lot of the people who were robbed in the mission, it was because they weren't in on time, or they had things in there, they had taken things out of their apartment that they shouldn't have. Don't take your camera with you outside of your apartment. Don't take pictures in public places. I mean, use discretion would probably be the best way to put it. Make sure that you're super obedient though about like being in when you should at night, because that'll be the best protection. And when you're working to be obedient, the Lord protects you and he lets you know. I remember there were several times that like we were really protected, that we felt we needed to go somewhere else and we needed to go like a different way to get home. That took a little bit longer, but like for example, I remember one night in my third area, we were going home and we just felt like we should take another route, and so we did. And it was interesting because when we finally got to our house, we saw that like the street we normally took was completely dark. Like all the lights were off and like we couldn't see a thing. And so it was kind of scary because, you don't know what could have happened, but you're not supposed to travel in unlit areas. So we were like, okay, well, we were protected there. It's a developing country still. And so there's a lot of people who drive taxis, people who work in mines, people who cook. They're still developing, and so there's a push and like a progression towards people going to college and getting a higher degree so that they can work in higher positions. But it's not as prevalent as the United States for sure. Many times, just because of the poverty, people are forced to accept a job like being a taxi driver for the rest of their lives, which isn't a bad job, and they can make enough money on it, but it's harder.